Could this quite possibly be the worst Conjuring movie that there is? Hey, what's going on, folks? Chris of Cinema Hooked, and today I'm talking about The Conjuring: Last Rites. Supposedly the last film of the Conjuring franchise, but I highly doubt that. I could see us still getting a bunch of spin-offs. You know, we've done the Annabelles, you did the Nun movies, which are all in that Conjuring universe, but there's so many like relics and totems in that little room that the Warrens have that you could make a film about every single one. I mean, there's some like weird masks in there that, like, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind more spin-off movies as long as they're good, you know, where they like travel to South America or something like that, like somewhere where they need a translator. Like, you can get into a whole thing there. Like, I'm okay with some spin-offs, like, don't get me wrong. There's just no way that I'm buying that this was the last film in the franchise. Like, maybe this is the last we see of Ed and Lorraine, but they clearly show that their daughter Judy has like the vision that Lorraine has. Like, there could be some spin-off films, even if it's not based on true stories anymore. I mean, they're at liberty, just like, hey, just use the name and just do whatever you want, make up a whole thing. We're like, her and her husband, Tony, like, they become ghost hunters and stuff, you know, just change the story, why not? Again, only if they're good. And the reason I keep emphasizing, you know, if it's good, is because this movie, sadly, was not. Now, I'm a big fan of the Conjuring franchise and the spin-off films. I like the Annabelle films, the Nun films. I really enjoy it. And while this movie isn't terrible, it's not a bad movie, but to live up to the hype of like the first two Conjuring films, especially the first one, because I saw that first one in theaters, and my God, I can think about certain scenes in that movie and I'll still just get the chills on the spot. There's that scene in the first movie where Ed and Lorraine went to the property and she's out in the yard and they have like the sheets and like pillowcases hung out on the clotheslines, and then she, you know, gets like a feeling or whatever. Oh, I'm already getting it. I literally just got the chills. I shit you not. The sheets and the pillowcases are blowing in the wind, and then, you know, the sheet moves and all of a sudden there was nobody in that window, and then boom, there's somebody in that window, and it's just like, some things you just can't top. And The Devil Made Me Do It movie, it was okay, but forgettable because I forget it. Now, this film does wrap up this franchise with a nice little bow, and I won't go into the details of how nicely wrapped up that is because, you know, it does a whole montage at the end. You get, here's what happened 10 years later, here's what happened, blah, 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 blah. You get the whole, you know, remainder of their life story. It's not a terrible film. It's just the reason it doesn't, I'm not going to hold it nearly as high as the first two Conjurings, especially that first Conjuring, because that movie is just special to me. It's just, it wasn't scary enough. I wanted to go to this movie and I wanted to be scared. I wanted to be on edge. I wanted to be uncomfortable. In this movie, while there are a few scenes, it just didn't do that for me. It had a few scenes here and there. There was a creepy part in a basement of a house. Like, that was creepy. It was kind of like, you know, nothing's happening, but at the same time, something's happening. Like, it's so subtle. It's just like, and those are kind of the scares that I love best. I don't want the, like, you know, jump scares that are just cheap. Like, they're unearned scares. Like, I want to be made uncomfortable. There's a great scene in the Weapons movie where it shows a woman walking to a car and then the camera stops. It doesn't keep panning to follow her, but you hear that the car door is open. You see the weight shift in the car and you can't see what's going on, but you can imagine it and you're just like, what's happening? No. Now, while I go to the movies to enjoy myself and be comfortable, this kind of movie, though, I want to be uncomfortable. I want to be on edge. I want to just be like, oh man. Again, not a bad movie, just not up to snuff when it comes to a Conjuring movie. I wanted it to be scarier. Give me more demons. You know, even if you threw in a couple cheap jump scares, like, this movie had a lot of talking, had a lot of storytelling, and like, not necessarily great storytelling. Like, and the little bits of scares and demons and stuff that they do give you, they are good. They're just really like, they just like turned it from 10 and they like turned it down to like 3.5. Some nice additions to the cast in this movie with Mia Tomlinson and Ben Hardy, but unfortunately still not enough to save this movie. And I don't mean save as in this movie's bombing at the box office or anything like that, because like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just, you know, it's not as good as the other one. So it's performing just well at the box office. I mean, people love Conjuring films. Unfortunately, I think people are going to be left with, you know, it was okay, but it could have been better. And as I said before, they could totally take Mia Tomlinson and Ben Hardy, and maybe they're the new Ed and Lorraine moving forward in the Conjuring universe. Like maybe they could do some more spin-off films, and just maybe it's not based on a true story anymore. I mean, it's still based on a true story because those are characters in real life from, you know, the Warren family. So I mean, based on a true story is a very loose term like movies can use, you know? You can just make it all up. But yeah, it's based on two people existed at a time in the world. We just made everything else up though. If I had to give this movie a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably come somewhere between like a 6.5 to 7. You know, it was solid, you know? I mean, I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored by any means. I wasn't rolling my eyes or anything. It was just, you know, watching the movie, I just wanted to be scared more. That's really my only critique. It didn't scare me enough, and you know, that's okay. I mean, some movies it just doesn't land, but the scares that they did do, landed. They just could have had more of them, especially at a 2 hour and 15-minute runtime. I feel like they could have added a little bit more scares in there. Also, if you're watching this, I tried to keep this spoiler free because if you haven't seen it yet, I wanted to let you know it is worth seeing. If you're a fan of The Conjuring, it is worth seeing. Again, not a bad movie. I want to keep repeating that because I am not by any means like crapping on the movie. Like it's an entertaining movie. It's not a bad movie. If you are wondering if there's some post-credit scenes, there is one at the very, very end. And I was the only one that stuck around for it in my theater, but there is a little thing at the end. And you might enjoy it. It's just a little like nuggets, nothing crazy, but it is interesting. Go check it out. If you're a Conjuring fan, I think you're gonna enjoy it because at the end of the day, I did enjoy the film. Just wish I would have been scared a little bit more, but check it out for yourself. Come back to this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I reply to every single comment. If you're new to this page, subscribe if you feel like it. Maybe hit the little like button like the sign there says. And like always, let's keep the conversation going after the video ends, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.